The maid my mother sponsored turned our household upside down. All three men in the family fell under her spell. My father, Michael, and brother, Dan, handed over the company Mom painstakingly built to her. My boyfriend, Jason, even sabotaged Mom's efforts to help me. Eventually, Mom died of a broken heart and I perished in a car accident from mental exhaustion. By divine grace, we both got reborn. Returning home after a 3-month internship, I asked maid Lucy Brown to carry my luggage upstairs. She barely lifted the suitcase 2 steps before dropping it dramatically, cradling her wrist with tears shimmering in her eyes. The 3 men lounging in the living room sprang into action like knights rescuing a damsel. Dan fussed over her injured hand while Michael fetched the first aid kit. Jason massaged her shoulders tenderly, treating her like some fragile porcelain doll. Never mind that Lucy's mother had been our family maid who brought her daughter to work since childhood. After her mother's fatal car accident, we kept Lucy employed out of pity, even funding her education. Only after comforting Lucy did they acknowledge my presence. Dan glared like I'd murdered his puppy. Got broken arms? Can't carry your own stuff? Michael roared. Have you no decency? Lucy's wrist injury. Jason shot me a disgusted look. You're such a disappointment. Lucy's meek voice cut through. Don't blame Ivy. She's tired from traveling. I should help. Her martyr act made them seethe with protective rage. Mom, Emily, entered just as their glares could have vaporized me. Our eyes met in silent understanding. Last life. These men's obsession with Lucy destroyed us mentally and financially. Mom relinquished the company to care for my deteriorating health, only for them to gift-wrap our legacy for Lucy. Jason sabotaged our desperate attempts to recover. Now, we watched their pathetic pandering with cold amusement. Mom whispered, "Shall we make their lives interesting this time?" I grinned. Absolutely. At my welcome dinner, where they insisted on bringing Lucy so she wouldn't feel lonely, Jason dragged his parents along. The Smiths watched awkwardly as Michael and Dan piled Lucy's plate with food. Eat more. Lou. Let me serve you. Jason kept intercepting dishes meant for me. When I dropped my chopsticks in frustration, Mrs. Smith nudged him. Serve Ivy too. Who are you trying to impress with that attitude? Jason sneered. This pettiness makes us incompatible. Mom plopped a chicken drumstick on my plate. Indeed incompatible. Jason rolled his eyes, oblivious to the storm brewing. Across the table, Lucy's sickly, sweet smile faltered as she noticed our serene confidence. The chessboard had been reset, but the queens now played to win. I noticed Jason's parents stiffen before Mr. Smith reprimanded sharply. Jason, how could you speak to Ivy like that? The dining table tension thickened instantly. Lucy stood up, offering meekly, let me serve you some soup. Ivy. It's delicious. Without waiting for response, she ladled broth into an empty bowl. While maneuvering around guests to reach me, she stumbled dramatically. Scalding liquid splashed across her own hand, reddening the fair skin instantly. Tears welled in Lucy's eyes as she whimpered. I'm so sorry, Ivy. I didn't realize your foot would be stretched out here. I only wanted to lighten the mood. She dabbed at imaginary stains on my dress with tissues. Dan and Jason rushed to comfort Lucy while Jason grabbed her injured hand, snarling at me. With all this space, you tripped her on purpose. You're disgusting. I smirked. Funny how she found the one spot with my foot across this wide path. As Michael and Dan joined the accusation, Emily slammed her chopsticks onto the glass table with resounding authority. Silence fell immediately. Everyone knew the Johnson fortune flowed from her business empire, and the Smith family's company survived solely through her contracts. After checking me for burns, Emily addressed Lucy coldly. If you can't handle simple tasks, consider your employment here terminated. You're old enough to support yourself. Michael protested weakly. Darling, you're spoiling Ivy when clearly. My daughter. My rules. Got objections? Emily's glare silenced him. He knew better than to jeopardize his allowance. Dan tried reasoning. Mom, Lucy's been with us forever. Are we just throwing her out? Was sheltering a homeless teen wrong? Paying her wages? Funding her education? Emily's CEO persona emerged fully. I mentally cheered you go. Mom. When Dan faltered, Jason switched tactics. Lecturing me. Ivy. A proper wife admits her mistakes. I won't tolerate. Your future wife's manners concern me how? I shrugged. The Smiths paled as the welcome dinner dissolved. Emily drove me to another hotel, announcing, "Let's meet real clients. My company won't survive another generation of Dan and Michael's incompetence." The first thing I did after being reborn was to develop my abilities. That's why I spent 3 months interning out of town. When I entered the private dining room, I found Aunt Peter's family, my mother's best friend. The Peters family had helped us considerably in my previous life. But unfortunately, Mom and I had awakened too late. Well, look who finally decided to show up. Aunt Peters beamed, linking her arm through mine. Our ivies blossomed into such a beauty. Don't you agree, son? She maneuvered me next to Ethan's seat, giving him a meaningful glance. The man's striking features shifted slightly. After dinner's polite refusals, it was decided Ethan would drive me home. I shot my mother an exasperated look, only to find her making exaggerated faces behind Aunt Peter's back. Ethan didn't object, even opening the passenger door for me. We'd played together often as children. But after I met Jason and Ethan went abroad for college, our connection faded. The car filled with heavy silence until Ethan finally spoke. I hear you're joining Aunt Emily's company? I turned to study his profile, half illuminated by passing streetlights. Yes. Then I'll be seeing more of you. Ethan parked the car and reached out his hand. When I blinked in confusion, my fingers automatically met his. We might collaborate on projects. His lips curved faintly. The next morning found me at the corporate office with Mom. Returning home, we discovered Jason and his parents in our living room, gift boxes cluttering the coffee table. The Smiths' smiles turned strained when Mom and I ignored Jason's sudden concern about my work fatigue. Ivy, how was your first day at the office? Lucy placed washed fruits on the table, voice trembling. I gave her a measured look. Mom had wanted to fire her yesterday, but I'd intervened. Simple dismissal was too merciful. My stare made Lucy pale and lower her head as if I'd struck her. Jason exploded. Ivy, I've had enough. I tried apologizing for yesterday, but look how you're acting. Seeing Lucy's aggrieved expression, his anger immediately redirected toward me. If you're going to keep acting like this, maybe we shouldn't be together anymore. I scoffed. He dared say that because he assumed he had me wrapped around his finger, that no matter how much I acted out, I'd cave the moment he threatened to leave. Mrs. Smith theatrically swatted Jason's arm. Jason, watch your tone. She turned to my mother with a saccharine smile. Mrs. Johnson. Young people always say things they don't mean when they're upset. These two have been dating for years. Shouldn't we discuss engagement plans? Mr. Smith chimed in. Exactly. Trust me. Jason will mature once he settles down. My mother sipped her tea calmly before nodding. The Smiths' faces lit up until she spoke again, turning to Lucy. Lucy, you and Jason have been close for a long time. Would you like to formalize your relationship now? The room froze. Everyone except Mom and I turned pale. Dad and Dan nearly leapt from their seats. Honey, Jason is Ivy's boyfriend. Mom? Why drag Lucy into this? Mom arched a brow. Are you questioning my judgment as a CEO? Lucy's clever, capable, and a perfect match for Jason. Mrs. Smith shot up, trembling with outrage. How could you sabotage your own daughter's happiness? We'll overlook your reluctance to let Ivy marry. But using some servant to humiliate my son? If this is how the Johnsons see us, Jason will never. Lucy flinched as if struck, tears welling as she glanced at Jason. His protective instincts flared. Ivy. He glowered, voice dripping with menace. Is this your family's true colors? You I shrugged, cutting him off. Yep. He faltered, unprepared for my bluntness. You, Ivy. I have my pride. Let's end this today. Sure. My calm reply shattered the Smiths' smug composure. Until that moment, they'd still believe this was all an act, that I'd crumble under their pressure. Panic flooded their faces. Mrs. Smith instantly backpedaled, plastering on a sycophantic grin. Now Ivy. You know how stubborn Jason gets. We'll make him apologize properly. Mr. Smith slapped Jason hard across the face, a genuine strike this time. The crack echoed through the room. Jason groaned, but his dazed expression fixated on me, reeling from the tectonic shift in power dynamics. After being slapped by his father, Jason finally came to his senses. He forced a gentler tone as he spoke to me. Ivy. Let's stop fighting and make this work. My expression turned icy. For the first time, impatience flashed across my face. Jason. You're insufferable. Wasn't I clear enough at the welcome dinner? We've been done since last night. Just seeing your face makes me want to vomit. Jason's forced gentleness shattered. Being publicly humiliated by someone he'd once considered his devoted follower, especially in front of his beloved, twisted his features with rage. Ivy. Remember these words. I'm done with this shit. He stormed out, smoke practically rising from his ears. Mr. Smith scrambled after him while Mrs. Smith lingered, offering Emily and me apologetic smiles. I didn't miss Mr. Smith kicking Jason's shin at the doorway, nor Mrs. Smith's venomous glare at Lucy when Emily pushed another business deal her way. Lucy's crumbling facade as Mrs. Smith tore into her? Chef's kiss. Oh. And Dan and Michael's constipated expressions while Emily shut down their concerns about Lucy? Perfection. Lowering my lashes, I smirked. This lifetime, I'd let these rabid dogs rip each other apart. The following days brought temporary peace, though our surveillance team confirmed the calm was superficial. Dan kept sniffing around projects outside his purview. Michael kept casually probing Emily about company affairs. The Smiths kept leveraging the Johnson name for investments. Lucy kept juggling 3 men like the circus clown she was. Emily flipped through financial reports with the confidence of a queen. Relax, sweetheart. Your mother built this empire from scratch. I studied her radiant smile, throat tightening. Even the strongest warrior would bleed from betrayal by husband and son. Mom. I hugged her arm. You'll always have me. She booped my nose like I was 5. Darling. I've survived worse than these parasites. But you, her eyes gleamed mischievously. What's your take on Ethan? I considered. The Peters family had sheltered us in our darkest hour. He's decent. Helpful. Brave. A modern knight. Handsomer than Jason? My eyebrow shot up. Since when did Emily care about looks? Maybe she wanted to distract me. Jason wishes he had Ethan's hairline, jawline, or height. Between you and me? I stage whispered. Ethan's chest and abs? Museum-worthy masterpieces. A muffled chuckle sounded behind me. I froze. Under Emily's Cheshire cat grin. I turned to find Ethan leaning against her office doorway. Documents in one hand, the other tucked in his pocket. His smirk could power a small city. Glad my gym membership's paying off. Ivy. The corners of his lips remained lifted as those peach blossom eyes winked at me. I stared blankly. Ethan had come to my mother's company solely to accompany me to a small auction. My mother Emily's project was connected to this event, with Ethan and I being the dual project managers. As we entered the auction hall, we immediately spotted Jason and his entourage. Lucy sat beside Jason, who sprawled in his seat like some mob boss. Pick whatever catches your eye today, it's all on me, he declared, prompting his table to erupt in cheers of "That's our Jason." My lips curled in a cold smile. This idiot probably hadn't even realized his family's company was crumbling. After her rebirth, my mother Emily had immediately severed all business ties with the Smith family. By the time relations fully collapsed, the Smiths' enterprise was already gasping its last breath. Ivy? I was about to find another seat when Lucy's sharp eyes spotted me. The barking began instantly. Well, if it isn't Miss Johnson herself. What a coincidence, or did you secretly follow Jason here? Still keeping tabs on him? Princess? Shouldn't you be more dignified? Jason only invited sweet little Lucy. Everyone prefers gentle, caring beauties. You know. Lucy stood trembling, her voice quivering. Ms. Johnson. Your father Michael gave me time off today. Her frightened doe eyes made me look like some abusive monster, instantly triggering Jason's white knight complex. Ivy. You're insufferable. Leave now if you want forgiveness. I rolled my eyes, cupping my ear dramatically. Huh? Is that a stray dog barking? You've crossed the line. Jason roared. You never come to these events. Showing up alone right when I'm here, can't take a hint? Before I could retort, a deep voice sounded behind me. Is there a problem with how you're addressing my girlfriend? Ethan stood beside me, his smiling eyes devoid of warmth as he surveyed the group. My apologies for stepping away to consult staff earlier. The sudden appearance of this Adonis left Jason humiliated. The crowd's gazes darted between us in silent judgment. I instantly grasped the game we were playing, the fake couple card, to infuriate them. I looped my arm through Ethan's, feeling his momentary stiffness before smiling sweetly at the group. Here for him? Honey, you couldn't afford the keys to this kingdom. Alone? Are you blind to this Greek god beside me? Talk about dignity? Your generosity extends to calling every stranger daddy. Doesn't it? Yeah, right. Your sweet little sister Lucy is so gentle and caring. Unlike you, cheap and easy. Jason's crew looked like their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Yet not one of them could muster a response. Laughter erupted from nearby tables, accompanied by hushed whispers. That guy kept claiming the girl came here chasing him. She's clearly here with her boyfriend. How shameless. Hush. That's the Smith family's son. Jason's face flushed crimson, then paled ashen. The venomous glare he shot me could have melted steel. As the auction commenced, I knew Jason would try to sabotage me. Every item I bid on, he aggressively countered. After letting him outbid me twice, I deliberately turned to his table with a convincingly frustrated expression. Like sharks smelling blood, his crew mindlessly joined the bidding war. By the auction's end, I'd lost every item while their table accumulated multiple overpriced wins per person. Pressing my face against Ethan's shoulder, I pretended to sob, trembling from suppressed laughter. The Smith entourage preened like conquering heroes until staff approached with invoices. When Jason swiped his card, the terminal chirped, insufficient funds. Must have grabbed the wrong card. Jason lied through gritted teeth. His cronies' nervous laughter died as successive cards failed. I watched their triumphant smirks crumble, savoring each declining transaction's beep. My memory's not great. Just try swiping them all. I don't remember which card I usually use. The staff began swiping them one by one. Insufficient funds. Insufficient funds. Insufficient funds. The robotic female voice relentlessly humiliated Jason. Sir? Any others? The clerk handed back the declined cards. Jace. What's going on? Come on, Jace. You're joking with us. Right? We'll treat you to dinner tonight, just pull out the real card. This can't be real. I just lowballed Ivy hard to back you up at the auction. Winning bids can't be cancelled. Are you seriously screwing me over? The table grew increasingly agitated, their tone shifting from skepticism to outright hostility. I snorted audibly while walking past them arm in arm with Ethan. Jason gritted his teeth, glaring at me. Ivy. He forced out. Let me borrow your card. I'll pay you back. Sure. I cheerfully agreed. His eyes lit up momentarily, until I pulled out a card and abruptly redirected it toward Ethan. Oops. My bad. As someone in a relationship, I should check if my boyfriend minds me lending money to another guy. Ethan's mouth quirked upward even as he feigned exasperation. Pocketing my card. He tapped my nose. Little troublemaker. I absolutely would mind. I suppressed a shiver. Dude's laying it on thick. while finalizing paperwork with auction staff. We overheard fresh gossip. Jason's table ended up splitting the overpriced lot after his card failed. They roasted him mercilessly while leaving, sparking rumors about the Smith family's impending bankruptcy. Panicked, Mr. and Mrs. Smith began bombarding our home with gifts, desperate to cling to Emily and me as financial lifelines. We weaponized Lucy's name to provoke Jason during every visit, predictably. His outbursts kept sabotaging their schemes. The final straw came when Emily fired Lucy after receiving a call from her corporate mole monitoring Michael and Dan. My father and brother immediately blew up, storming out of the house. Emily retaliated by mailing divorce papers to Michael and cutting funding to his startup, while demoting Dan at the family firm. "This is called flushing out snakes," Emily remarked coolly. Sure enough, the vipers emerged. Industry whispers about Johnson Group's collapse spread rapidly. Partners abandoned projects. Insiders leaked tales about Emily angering powerful figures. When these rumors reached us, Emily simply smiled over her espresso. Let them talk. Hungry wolves always betray themselves first. My mom, Emily, and I were having dinner with the Peters family in a private dining room. When I stepped out to take a call, I unexpectedly saw my dad Michael embracing Lucy as they entered another room. I ducked into an alcove, my expression darkening. In my past life, I'd once believed Lucy was Michael's illegitimate daughter. That's why he treated her so well. But I eventually learned she wasn't his child at all, they were lovers. I memorized their room number and texted Ethan. The fish took the bait. Thanks for the assist. This upscale restaurant was pricey, especially on Valentine's Day. But Ethan, being the owner, worked to my advantage. He'd given me a promotional voucher, 50% off plus guaranteed reservations for a couple's package. I'd arranged for my cash-strapped father to win it through a street raffle. Smirking, I called Jason and my brother Dan. Do you know how busy I am? Why are you calling about Mom's business? Dan demanded when he arrived first. I ignored him, waiting silently. Jason soon appeared. You think we can reconcile on Valentine's Day, Ivy? Jason sneered. You're not fit to lick Lucy's boots. I only came to tell you, it's over. His tirade faltered when he noticed Dan. The two exchanged puzzled glances. I brought you here to witness something. I led them to Michael's room and pushed the door open. The couple kissing inside froze mid-embrace. What are you doing here? Michael shouted, scrambling to his feet. Lucy's panicked eyes locked onto me, then blazed with comprehension and hatred. I flashed her a brilliant smile before innocently asking, Dad? Are you and Lucy celebrating the holiday together? Don't be absurd. Michael roared. Dad, I saw you kissing Lucy. Dan shouted back. I treat her like a daughter. What's wrong with taking her to dinner? Michael retorted angrily. The wall screen suddenly illuminated, surrounded by heart-shaped balloons. Slides began auto-playing, selfies of Michael and Lucy embracing. Love poems he'd written. Designer clothes he'd gifted her. The romantic presentation he'd prepared for the restaurant now exposed their affair to everyone present. With my mission accomplished, I gracefully exited the room, carefully closing the door behind me. Inside, the sounds of three men arguing and eventually brawling mixed with Lucy's occasional shrieks. What a lively Valentine's Day. I mused outside the door. A familiar male voice chimed in behind me. Machem, how do you plan to thank me? I turned to see Ethan. Our frequent interactions lately had noticeably warmed our relationship. Why don't you accompany me somewhere? Consider that your thank you. Ethan raised an eyebrow, gesturing for me to follow. All right. He pushed open a private booth at the corridor's end. Peering inside revealed complete darkness until sudden illumination unveiled a path of crimson rose petals. At its end stood a floral-arranged plush dog, behind which a massive screen displayed a photo montage. The first showed 4-year-old me visiting the Peters family with my mother, posing with Mrs. Peters and 5-year-old Ethan. Next, 6-year-old me wailing over dropped ice cream while 7-year-old Ethan stood helplessly beside me. The third captured 14-year-old me receiving academic honors with 15-year-old Ethan on stage. Fourth, our 18 and 19-year-old selves at my high school graduation. Finally, 23-year-old me backstage at an auction with 24-year-old Ethan, this final image bearing the caption, "Finally. We meet again. My dear Ivy." Ethan emerged from the shadows holding roses. His usual confidence replaced by nervous anticipation. "Remember when I asked you to the amusement park during your freshman year?" I nodded, recalling that fateful day when I'd first introduced Jason to him. "Ethan. Meet someone special. This is my boyfriend." His smile had frozen then. "Shocking. Right? I beat you to dating." "Why, yes." He'd left for overseas studies soon after. Our connection fading until now. "Ivy." His voice softened. "Living abroad taught me that unspoken feelings change destinies. So I'll say it clearly, I've loved you since childhood. And still do." My heart skipped. 2 lifetimes of knowing him. Yet never considering this possibility. My rebirth had been consumed by vengeance until this moment. "No rush," he reassured. "I'll always have time for my special girl." His tender tone brushed against my heart like feathers, soothing, comforting, and utterly disarming. After Valentine's Day passed, the tides turned completely. The projects Dan, my brother, and Michael, my father, had schemed to take away either collapsed spectacularly or failed quality inspections. Meanwhile, Emily, my mother, became renowned throughout the business world for her shrewd judgment. Having miraculously avoided all those toxic ventures, those doomed projects left Michael and Dan drowning in debt. When Michael embezzled company funds to cover the financial holes, Dan, still bitter about losing his crush, immediately blew the whistle. The investigation into Michael's actions led to Emily finalizing their divorce with surgical precision. Dan got fired from his position, and Emily's updated will formally stripped him of any inheritance rights. After Emily publicly severed ties with the Smith family empire, business partners abandoned them like rats fleeing a sinking ship. The Smith Corporation eventually declared bankruptcy. Jason, once the golden boy of high society, became a pariah overnight. With all 3 men stripped of their worth, Lucy, who'd clung to our family's coattails, scrambled to find new patronage. She became some executive's mistress, only to get caught red-handed by his wife during a hotel rendezvous. Rumor has it she got slapped so hard her face swelled up. And they even took those compromising photos. I sat in Ethan's passenger seat listening to this entire saga. "You've got real paparazzi potential," I teased, watching his profile. The corner of his mouth twitched. "I'll take that as a compliment." Truthfully, I hadn't accepted Ethan's Valentine's confession that night. He was right, I needed time to sort through my resurrected life's complexities. Surviving death changes everything. Starting a relationship out of gratitude would have been unfair to us both. Exactly 1 year later, Ethan invited me to an amusement park for Valentine's. Our brilliant plan backfired when we found ourselves squeezed onto a bench amidst the crowds, licking melting ice cream cones. Sunlight gilded his features as I turned to study him, that familiar ache blooming in my chest. Throughout this year, our lives had intertwined seamlessly. Emily and I frequently had family dinners with the Peters. My role at Mom's company grew more natural, which meant working closely with Ethan too. "Hey." I nudged his shoulder. "Your ice cream looks better. Can I try it?" Before he could react, I leaned across and pressed my lips to his sun-warmed cheek instead. The strawberry cone nearly slipped from his hand as I whispered, "No more waiting. Ethan. I'm ready now." His stunned expression melted into the smile I'd grown to cherish. "Took you long enough?" He breathed against my hair. In that crowded park, with sticky hands and racing hearts, we finally got our timing right.